Now we're ready to see if our logic is going to work. Okay, very simple. We're going to combine some of these functions over here with the if function. That's going to help us determine how to handle this particular situation, whether the value is less than $10 or whether it's over $1,000 or more. I'm going to start with this one right here where the value is going to be. Let's put $1.25. The value will be less than $10. Currently, it replaces all three of the numbers and makes it $9.99. We don't want that to happen. This should be $1.99. So let's click on that cell, and right here, after the equal sign, we need to make our determination first. Okay, we need to do our test. So if, opening parenthesis, what is the test? The test is, does this cell value of F5, does that have a value less than the number 10? So that's what the test is. We just put, when we say things, when we read an equation, we read a lot more into it than what we actually put on the screen. What I'm about to type, let's just do F5 less than 10, and then a comma. The way you would read that is if F5 is less than 10, okay, or if the value in F5 is less than 10. Here is the value if true. Now, the way that it's been working is that it replaces all three of those digits. We don't want that to happen. All that we want to happen is that it replaces the change at the end of it. So we're going to do something a little bit different than this, but this does work if the value is greater than 10. Now, as it turns out, we've got another test that has to occur later on for if the value is, $1,000 or more, but we're going to deal with that in the next video. For this one, we're just going to do another comma, and then I'll go to the end of my function, my formula, and put my closing parenthesis. Now, what that's going to do is when I hit enter, you will see a 0, because here's what happens. I left my true value empty. There's nothing in there right now. I just have two commas. If I want, I could put less than and then hit enter and see what happens. It says less than. Now, if this value goes to 10, no problem. It works just fine. Incidentally, that means if I buy something for $13, it still costs $19.99. So, but that's the way our logic's working, and that's fine. That's the way it's supposed to work. We put it at $1.25. It's saying less than. Let's analyze our formula. What we need here is for our true value is something similar to the other formula that's working, but we have to manipulate things a little bit. We have to make it a little different so it behaves differently. So let's do replace, again the same reference, G5, and get the length of G5, but then here is where things change. If we know that the value is less than 10, that means there aren't the same amount of digits there. So what we want to do, and we're going to be changing the change. We're not going to be changing the ones position. So we're going to back up. We're just going to subtract 1. Because if, let's look at this, the length of this string right now is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We want to start replacing text at that first 8. So if we take 5 and subtract 1, that gives us the number 4 position. And that's exactly where we want to start with this. So we're going to take the length of G5, subtract 1, and then here's our comma for our number of characters to replace. We're going to replace 2 characters, and then another comma. What are we going to replace those characters with? Double quote, 99, double quote, and then we can put our closing parenthesis. And that is it. Okay, I know this looks fairly complex. Believe me, there are formulas much more complex than this. But what we're doing is in one line, we're controlling the outcome of this, the result of this cell based on whatever the value is in this cell. So let's go through the logic one more time. If the value in F5 is less than 10, this is our test, okay? If the value in F5 is less than 10, if it is, then I want you to perform this function. This is what you should do if that is true. If it's false, if the value in F5 is not less than 10, then I want you to perform this function. And when we hit enter, boom, there we have it, $1.99. So if we make this $2.43, we have $3.99. If we make it $8.15, we have $12.99. So it's going based off of this value. It's determining what it should change over here. And then as soon as we get over 10, let's do 10.25. Now it changes that third, the ones digit as well. So we've used the if function to help determine what the outcome is here. And we've addressed this issue of digits smaller, or numeric values, I should say, numeric values less than 10. We've taken care of that. Up next, we need to address this issue where those values are greater than $999.99.